Beautiful, isn't it? These footages had been sitting on my iPhone for a year, waiting for me to make a video out of them. But I just kept putting off the editing. It's not because I was lazy or too busy. The thing is, I simply don't know how to put them together to present the beauty of this water town. So in the end, I decided just to connect those footages in an order over the course of time. So you would follow exactly my footsteps to view this exquisite place through my iPhone lens. This town is called Wuzhen. If translated word by word, it would be like a black town or gray town. But apparently, the dark color has nothing to do with the actual name. So just call it Wuzhen. Here you go. Welcome to Wuzhen. You might know already, Wuzhen is famous for its canal. It's a beautiful small town. Wuzhen gets its name as the most beautiful water town in China thanks to the water networks inside and surrounding the place. Wuzhen is located 130 kilometers from Shanghai and 90 kilometers from Hangzhou, which is the start point of the Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal that right passes the town, and we will see it near the end of this video. After settling down in the hotel, I head straight for one of the main attractions. There are two of them, one in the east and one in the west side of the town. They are quite similar in terms of scenery. I'm in the west side now, which is right next to the Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal. Got my one-day pass ticket here. In China, when I visit a tourist site, I just follow the crowd. They will take me right to the popular spot. This site is like a sideshow, displaying colorful dyed cloths hanging high. The Chinese developed the fabric dyeing technique thousands of years ago. That isn't surprising, given that they had to know how to make silk even earlier. I really like this setting. As a matter of fact, I indulged myself in taking too much video footage here. I feel like I'm in one of the movies directed by Zhang Yimou, who's so obsessed about the colors in his films. You might see one of them like Hero or House of Flying Daggers. Here is one of his earlier works. Well, time to back to reality. Some of the fabrics might end up here. From the gaps of the buildings, you could take a sneak peek to see what's the main attraction about this water town. We're gonna cross this bridge to the other side. Here we go. This bridge will take us to the main scenery. This is one of the open area where boats would come together, uploading, loading, trading hundreds of years ago. From here, we are gonna walk this alleyway, which is parallel to the canal. Along the way, you would see plenty of old residential buildings that have been preserved well for hundreds of years. Please forgive the quality of the images. I was still using my iPhone 6s then and now. The buildings on the left-hand side have the street alley in the front and the canal in the back, which gives them great advantage for transportations, while the buildings on the right have the edge for being much bigger. Look at this one. The yard is gigantic, and it belonged to only one single family. I guess the owner must be a super rich local merchant, or even maybe an imperial official. It's also my guess that whoever owned a building on the right as a residence also had the buildings on the left as a storage for goods ready for transportation. Besides this stone-paved alleyway, there is another thing that took me right back to my childhood. On the way, I ran into a street vendor who's selling a kind of popsicles. It's basically just ice lolly, probably with a little bit of sugar inside. No fancy stuff at all. But licking one of these in a hot summer day would give me great satisfaction those days. The other thing that was our attention is those bridges. The conways different shape and size. You see, over the main canal, the bridges were designed with a much taller arch in the middle to allow bigger boats to pass through. And on a smaller and narrow waterway, the bridges are lower and smaller, some even flat. I could sit on a bank watching these aged wooden boats passing by all day to see how the boatmen row and steer the boat moves through the water. Now we are near the end of this canal. There is a tower next to it. From that tower, we can take a view of the Beijing-Hangzhou Grand Canal. Here it is, the Grand Canal, right passing by the town. The Grand Canal is an engineering marvel that stretches over 1,700 kilometers, connecting Beijing in the north and Hangzhou in the south. It also makes a network connection between two so-called the mother rivers of China, which are the Yangtze River and the Yellow River. It passes through some of China's richest provinces. Tons of goods have carried by large barges and tugboats from the south to the north, and vice versa. Cargoes changed time after time, from silk to salt, from grain to sand and stones, from raw materials to heavy machinery. You can imagine This Grand Canal and the water channels in Wuzhen has become the lifeline of the town. Well, we are in the end of this video. In my next episode, I will show you Wuzhen in and after the nightfall, which is much colorful than in daylight. Until then, goodbye.